Can I have one of my books?
I just started it, so
Yeah, I know you did. This is this is live here from. This is live. This is really live from the the only part of where I think this was. I noticed people are kind of convinced where baseball was going to be ready for this, but this Orioles this weekend is going to. I'll see what they have for this week. I'll have for what Saturday afternoon at 1:05 on Masson. So just so people think it wasn't going to happen, it will. It will happen. It will happen on there because we're kind of not having no serious problem there. Their minor league teams is I'll do the minor league teams for the Orioles affiliates just as long as it's not as going to be more controlled that far and more likely to do that. Oh, oh, we'll see that on the on which I think this was. It's Boston and the Orioles this weekend. So we'll see the first game of the exhibition, the Grapefruit League. You'll see the first game of that one. So this is a full week of having practice sessions down in Sarasota, just so people think it wasn't gonna work out for them, but it is. And I know a lot of people thought this wasn't going to work out for them, but we'll have a live. We're live right now on at where I think this was a remote. This was like it was more like good stuff coming up, but we got a lot of baseball coming up this later in the year. Basketball, the March Madness is coming up in March, which is also pretty good for the basketball tournaments. And I know a lot of people think this wasn't going to start off the same way it always does. But it'll be the Orioles and the Boston Red Sox. This is the minor league team now. The Shorebirds against the Fayetteville Woodpeckers, which is also a series where it starts on a Thursday night at 7:30 in the Purdue Stadium in Salisbury. So we'll have live updates of that one. We'll keep you updated of the Orioles too. We'll keep you updated of everything coming up later in the minutes before the Orioles start up the new season. Before the new season opens this season against the Los Angeles Angels. This team has to be a little bit more cleared up. I mean, clear, I should say. I should say clear. If this team is really what they're talking about, I mean, this is what they're saying. But this is kind of like it's really going to come back this season where the Orioles should have started out right. I mean, started out correctly. I should have said. But this one's I should say that, but it is. We'll have more updates as we get everything in for the Orioles. So the Orioles will be ready to go this summer to be ready for the whole 162 games a year. Have 162 games for the schedule this season. I hope that the Los Angeles Angels are coming into Camden Yards. It's a little bit more reassuring for them. But this to me sounds like it's going to be one of these seasons of building years, like building years. They're all building because I think this one's going to be like a building season. Excuse me. At least I didn't think that was going to happen, but it did. We're going to talk about the minor league teams on those extra this in the spring. So this will bring up the minor league teams. The Shorebirds have to be a little bit stronger this season. I don't know how the Orioles and the Shorebirds are going to be for the minor league teams. But last season, I thought the Tides were pretty good with all their pitching and all that. And I think that's one thing that the Tides had to do since they won their championship team this past year. Last year, I mean. I should have said that kind of like I didn't want to predict that too good, but at least that's pretty well done. But this year is going to be one of the Orioles seasons where I'm thinking this team's going to be strong enough. If they're going to be strong enough, they have to have some good, solid pitching going into this, into where this season's going to be. If this season went in worse last year, it's going to be better. But I'm just wondering how this season's going to end up, where this season's going to start, where the starting pitching is going to start off. They've got a lot to go through. They have a lot of pitch where guys are going to set, where places they have to have, positions they're going to have to do, what positions they're going to have to take. I'll keep you updated of everything that's going on in the Orioles organization right now. So a lot of people are going to say, where is this Orioles team coming from? Well, they get a lot of people over the winter to decide what they're going to do this later in the season. I don't know how they're going to come up here with. I think about 14 pitchers last season. I think they came up here with 14, maybe a little bit more or less than that time. But this is going to be kind of like it's going to be a sudden time going into these series. In each one, this sounds like to me, sounds like it's really going to be a tough. These games are going to be kind of going into the minors too. These minor leagues for the Orioles organization, I think a lot of people scout these guys out before they know where they're going to be in the next couple years. But this sounds to me that this is one of these seasons you can't get really mixed up with. But even as the people who said all this stuff, the organization has to decide what they're going to do, and whatever they're going to decide where the decisions are going to come out of. The pitching is going to have to get better for this coming season of baseball, because this solid pitching positions are going to be where they're going to be for the closer or for whatever they're going to have this season. Whether they're going to have a good closer or solid starting pitching. I think the starting pitching is the number one thing. I think this is a time for more people to decide what they're going to do this season for the coming year. And I'm wondering how each of these teams will start. I'm hoping that they can start out correctly. I hope they can, because we're going to really have tough decisions to make, where positions are going to be, where all the positions are going to be played in the infield. Like in the next couple days, I should say, the next couple of weeks, we're going to really start off with the final of our spring training. I'm just trying to see what this is going to bring for the Orioles this season. I just want to see what they're going to have this year, for what team they're going to use. And this team has to be a little bit stronger with the pitching or start off with the hitting. The hitting's not going to have to be strong enough. But last year, they didn't catch much out in the outfield. Last year, I saw this team didn't play as well, didn't play too well. But on the field, I don't know where they made the catches to stop the home runs. That's what's going to help. That's what's going to stop everything from scoring a lot. This scoring battle is going to be a little bit stopped with all the starting pitching this summer in the Orioles organization. I'm just kind of wondering if they're going to have a new owner by that time. Hopefully this side will be decided before the owners' meetings start the spring season for the O's to start off the right end. So we'll have more around the national, around the league. We'll check around the baseball team. And the number one team I'm a little worried about is the Yankees. And I don't know how the Yankees are going to be this year, how long they're going to have. But I don't know if Boston and the Orioles will be really ready for this in the coming weeks on this weekend for the Orioles and the Red Sox. This team last year played pretty well last season. They got slumps. They had a lot of injuries, and a lot of these things were kind of confusing and so confusing about what Boston was going to do about their pitching. It's just one thing I was a little worried about the pitching battle for Boston because the Orioles had everything ready for everything they were going to do. What positions they're going to play, how they're going to start off, how they're going to start having a good club. But I think what Boston needs is some good, solid pitching for their club, for the club up there. But I don't like that each thing is going to be all going up and down like the last couple of years. And the Orioles had a tough year in pitching. But this was kind of like it was so decision where it was so much outstanding where they had to interview people. Then they started out getting out of the league, starting out with the baseball this coming season. And I'm hoping the Orioles have a good season this year, have a good action coming. I don't know what they're going to have this year. I'm hoping that they can get the season started right. I'm just hoping that this year is going to be a little bit better for the O's and be ready for everything that they're going to be facing this coming season. I'm just hoping that this baseball season is going to start off right for the O's. But I think the Orioles will be ready to go this year because I don't know what they're going to have, what for players they're going to have, or what for team they're going to need for what they're going to put on the field. But something tells me is this sounds like it's going to be really a good, quiet season for the Orioles to get their team back in the championship mode now in the World Series. I'm just hoping that this is going to be a World Series action this year. And if they can get it done, I hope they get it done this season and get the season off correctly and right. And I hope that this is going to be one of the better years that they had for a number of years since 1983. That's the last time they were in the World Series. And this was kind of a lot, not different, but this was kind of going into this series that this series is going to be really bringing back baseball because they're thinking what they're going to have to do. And we'll have more on this, on those extra. And I hope that you will stay tuned for every action this summer for the Orioles baseball team on network on Masson. And if you'd like to see a ball game on my channel here, I'll talk about some O's Extra this week and starting the season off right. And these in between shows, I'm going to be doing some special live remotes from a special place where I think this was kind of not like a different place. I mean, but this was going to be a different way of like O's baseball. If you like to see Orioles baseball this season, turn over to Masson. They'll be glad to get your local cable agencies, get local cable people to give you that channel. I just hope the Shorebirds are going to be good this year too. The lack of pitching was kind of getting lopsided for them too. But this year, I hope that this is going to be an entertaining season for both these clubs. For both clubs, I mean. And this is one of the best years I have ever. I didn't see anything yet, but this coming season for the Orioles and the Shorebirds, I hope they're going to have a real nice year. They're going to have a real good, decent record, a good record for the O's. I just hope that the organization, I think this organization is really doing wonderful for Mike Elias. But the last time I heard him say something to this was the only word that I thought this was. I think this was kind of like Brandon Hyde's information was coming out of his when he had left. And this team's going to really have to have a lot of work to do. But this is kind of on their end where they're going to really have to get ready for this season, for the season of 24 of this year. Oh, this year, in this coming season, it seems like everything's going to start off the right way. I mean, if it starts out the right way for the O's, it should be okay. Or wherever they're going to have behind the plate positions, this sounds like if Adley Rushman can get his hitting up a little bit more. That's one thing I'd just like to see some more of, which his catching job was going to be some more information. How the starting catcher's going to start off. And I just don't like to see some things or may not change anything, but this way they'll be okay with Adley going into this series where we'll have at least we'll have three, I think. I hope they have three. But including this, one gets hurt or one else they get injured. Besides, I don't know where everything is going to be relying on what Brandon Hyde's going to come up with. I just hope that this is one of the best clubs that they have this coming season. I'm hoping that they can get this thing together and get it quick. And quickly they can. But I just hope that they have a good season this year. I just hope that they can get this thing started out right and start out with some wins and no losses. And it's so many times that this year really going to have a real good year for the Orioles Baseball Network and for all the organization and for all the teams. I just think that these rookies are going to have some good, solid pitching. What they picked up this winter, and they're ready. They're going to get ready for the season. I just think that this was kind of like they made a move or somewhere. They got rid of Joey Ortiz, which is all right for that, but I think this was. It's just somehow it was just as clear as that it was really going to get better for much of the Orioles pitching. The pitching going to have to get better for this. And for what they're going to have to really do is start off the right way to pick off a guy off a base or do it themselves. But last year it was so hard to make a play that it was more a lot of mistakes. It wasn't so fast. And I think this is kind of weird, but I don't know. I don't know how this season's going to start off with the Orioles organization trying to decide what they're what they're going to do, what they're going to say and what they're not. So we'll keep you updated of everything else in the baseball world this year. I've been hearing a lot of on UNLV. They're really asking for people that who wants to have the Orioles win this season, and this to me sounds okay for the O's organization to do. And I think this one's going to be for the Orioles television show, the network for Masson, because this whole thing, it just does mean a lot of more TV time for them. I think most of this TV time is going to be on them and see what they're going to have. We'll see over the weekend. We'll see how the Orioles do and find out what the roster is going to be. We'll find that out when we start off a brand new year of O's baseball, 24 season. A brand new year for the Orioles and the Shorebirds. And we'll have a brand new year. I'll have more information as I get it, in which I hope the Orioles can do. But I can get off of here or wherever, the TV, off the sportscasters. And I've been hearing a lot of sports stories have been, not for baseball, for a lot of the other sports. So you'll be able to stay tuned for more baseball, good stories, good stuff. We'll have more baseball talk, and we'll have that more coming up later in the year. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for any Orioles news that you want to know about. And if anything does come up, a name or something, you'll know it on the local networks and all that stuff. And we'll have reporters, and Baco does have the School of Rock every year for the baseball. And I'm hoping this season is going to start off the right way for the Orioles to really get it together. So we'll stay tuned for that, and we'll see it over the weekend when the Orioles will take on the Red Sox for the first game of the year for the exhibition season. So stay tuned for that. I'll have more on this. I'll see you later on the O's Network, and we'll see you then. See ya!